What's good, you guys, and welcome back to D&D After Hours. If this is your first time here, this is not a perfect podcast. This is not a polished podcast. This is a real life at night podcast where we talk about the things we don't say during the day. And tonight, we're talking about something that changed my peace completely. This episode is called Learning to Stop Explaining Yourself. And who, child, if you are an over explainer, this one might be heavy. I used to explain everything: my tone, my intentions, my feelings, my reactions. Like if someone said, "You acting different," I would immediately go into a whole TED talk. Well, it's not that I'm acting different. It's just I've been dealing with a lot and I've been trying to grow, and I don't want you to feel like I'm being distant, but baby, paragraphs, voice notes, emotional PowerPoints, because in my mind, if they understood my heart, they wouldn't leave. And truth be told, having to sit and keep explaining myself time after time after time and keep having to reiterate how I felt, why I felt that way, and even then it still don't get through to people's minds, I just get to a point where I just have to stop explaining myself to people because it seems like my explanation never mattered from the get-go. There was a time I remember sitting in my room, literally rereading a message I had typed like 10 times, y'all, trying to make sure it didn't sound rude or sound selfish or it didn't sound too emotional, as some people would say. And I realized something scary. I wasn't communicating. I was performing understanding. I was trying to make sure they stayed comfortable even if I wasn't. But let me explain something to you guys. Over-explaining is usually not about being nice. It's about fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being rejected. Fear of people thinking you're the villain. Especially when you're someone like me. You love hard. You show up. You give people grace. You try to see the good. So when the conflict happens, you go into fixing mode. Let me explain myself so we can get back to our peace again. Let me explain myself so you don't feel as though I'm being fake and phony towards you. Let me explain myself so I can go ahead and clear up the madness. Let me go ahead and explain myself so you don't be mad at me and don't want to block me instantly. Let me go ahead and explain myself. Like, it should never get to that point, guys. Not at all. The shift for me came when I realized people already decided how they see you. Before you even opened your mouth, before you even clarified, before you even cried, and no amount of explaining changes a fixed perception. So one day I tried something new. I just said, okay, no paragraph, no breakdown, no emotional defense. And do you know how powerful that felt? Because the first time I wasn't fighting to be understood. I was choosing to be at peace. Let me ask you something. How many times have you over-explained your boundaries? Over-explained your distance? Over-explained your growth? Just so people wouldn't feel uncomfortable. But what about you being uncomfortable? What about you feeling drained? What about you constantly shrinking so people don't feel like you change or think that you have changed? We're supposed to change, you guys. That was the assignment. People feel as though that, why is it that I have to sit here and keep explaining myself to those who misunderstand me, for those who just think that I'm just spitting nothing but just words that sound like wah, 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 wah. Why do I have to sit here and be in a place where I feel uncomfortable? I should not have to sit here and feel as though that I have to continue to justify my actions. I shouldn't have to sit over here, especially if you know who I am and you know that I'm the type of person where anytime whenever I come to you and I tell you what's going on, especially if it's from top tier details, I'm gonna let you know, hey, this is what happened, woo woo woo. So if it ever comes back to you, let me know. Because even so, whenever it comes down to these friendships, whenever it comes down to these relationships, and people get to talking about things, they be like, oh, well, so and so said such and such or whatever stuff. Well, that's not what I heard. I heard that. Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and give you one piece to the puzzle, because it's 3 points. It's three things that people gonna take away from the story. That's your story, their story, and the truth. Once you get my story, you get their story, and you start putting everything together, you're gonna realize what's the truth and what's fake. Point blank, period. I come from a place where people know my heart, people know my intentions. But at the same time, those very people that know my heart and they know my intentions, some of them have the means of thinking that I could sometimes be the villain in certain situations, when all it could have took was that one conversation. All it could have taken was that one talk to be able to sit down and let me explain how I was feeling. Because sometimes my tone can come off wrong to people. Sometimes the way that I text comes off wrong to people. So therefore, I have to come from a place where it's like, you know what, God, I need you to speak to me to be able to speak to this person, because I don't want to come from a place where I'm talking through with my flesh, and my flesh will rise and I'll be done say something that I'm going to regret. I don't want to end up saying something and secrets start coming out, or I don't want to say anything and the very thing that I said that I would never hang over their head, it ends up coming out, and it's just like, after all the things that I did for you, you gonna do this to me? Nah, I'm not. No, I'm not gonna do that to you. But there are moments in time where I just be like, you know what? Peace I shall choose, because I'm not gonna go through this with you today. And there are oftentimes, some people like me, if you're listening in, some of you guys are like me, where whenever you don't feel like explaining, or not even whenever you don't feel like explaining, whenever you get to a point where you stop explaining yourself, you get to a place where you just get quiet and you just start to observe the little things. And those little things that you start to observe, it starts to become some type of like picture that was painted for you. You just like, this is truly what I see, for real, for real. Sometimes God will literally grow you in ways that other people cannot come with. And explaining yourself becomes a delay tactic. You're trying to carry people into a season they were never meant to experience with you. And that hurts, but it's also freeing. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back, because some of y'all be thinking that y'all not doing this, but y'all really are. Some of y'all are trying to carry people into a season that they were never meant to experience with you. As I tell everybody, consistently, daily, every single time you gonna hear from me, some people are not meant to rise with you. Everybody's elevation is different. Everybody's growth is different. So therefore, I know as much as you want to take little Tyrone with you, you can't take little Tyrone with you. You're going to have to leave Tyrone at the bottom. As much as you want to take Tamika, you can't take Tamika. Tamika got her own stuff that she got to deal with before she can get to where you are. Yes, people complain about it. People be like, well, why is it that, this, that, that? It's because everybody goes through this season of having to explain themselves time and time again. But my question to you is how many times are you going to sit here and continue to carry people into a season of always having to explain, always having to vouch for you? Keyword, you. Some people are willing to vouch for other people, and that's only because of loyalty. That's only because of respect, especially whenever nobody is in the room with you. And you hear them say a person's name, especially if it's somebody that you care about, you like, we ain't finna talk about them, and they not in the room to say something on their behalf. But what I'm gonna say on their behalf is, let's go ahead and dead that situation real quick. But whenever it comes down to me, I refuse to carry somebody into a season where I have to continue to explain myself every single time, and I have shown my hand to you. I have shown all that I could give to you. Now, granted, I have my flaws. I have my times where I mess up. I have times where people come to me and they be like, Des, you was dead wrong for the way that you said this. Or Des, I really didn't like how you voiced this opinion to me. It kind of sounded a little harsh behind it. I get it and I understand it. And sometimes I have to go back and I have to, tell people like, that's not how I wanted it to come out. That's not how I intended it to come out. That's why I tell people when I get upset or whenever we have these type of heart-to-heart conversations, let me talk to God first before I deal with you, because in that moment, depending on how I'm feeling, you gonna catch it and everybody else that's around me gonna catch it. I don't care if you good, you bad. I don't care about none of that. That's how the flesh works. If you mad, you gonna start spiraling out on everybody. That's almost like not getting good sleep at night, and now you mad because you want to go catch up on your sleep. You very irritable. You're hungry, all that stuff. So therefore, give me my time, and when my time comes, which may probably take a few minutes, may take maybe a couple of hours, maybe take a day or two. But let me get to a place where I'm one with God and I could be like, okay, God, I think I'm ready to go out and have this conversation with this person. I think I'm ready to explain myself to this person. Because again, even though you can explain yourself to some, you can't explain yourself to all. I'm going to say that again. Even though you can explain yourself to some, you cannot explain yourself to all. So tonight, I want you to practice something. The next time you feel the urge to write a long emotional paragraph, pause and ask yourself, am I explaining to communicate? Or am I explaining because I'm afraid to lose them? Am I explaining myself because I want the attention? Or am I explaining myself just to validate their feelings? Am I explaining myself to just be a devil's advocate to, butter them up and make them feel like all good inside and stuff like that? Or am I explaining myself to communicate? Which one? Because real alignment doesn't require you to exhaust yourself. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. I hope y'all taking notes on this. Real alignment does not require you to exhaust yourself. Stop explaining yourself to people who mean no good to you. Stop explaining yourself to people that it goes through one ear and it comes out the other. Stop explaining yourself to people who never cared from the start. Stop explaining yourself to people when at the end of the day, they probably gonna gaslight you. Some of them narcissistic. And get to that place where you ask yourself, do I need to explain? Look at the whole full circle. Read the room to understand whether or not you need to start or you need to stop. But this is D&D After Hours, and we're gonna grow even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's heavy, even whenever we feel like that we just want to give up and throw in the towel, but we can't do that because we have missions, we have goals, we have success that we want to accomplish out here in this world, people. I'm your host, Destynee Nathasia. And again, this is D&D After Hours, where we silence the noise, feel the truth, and heal our souls. I'm going to call you back later, and you better answer. Good night.